few more examples with you of 45, 45, 90 and 30, 60, 90 triangles. So I'm going to do a few here of the 45, 40 of 90. We'll do the first 6 together, and then I'll let you try the bottom 6, but then you can check it with mine on Canvas if needed. So it says find both missing side links for each 45, 45, 90 triangle, and you can just write the answers right on the pictures. And then if there's any little work you need to do off to the side, you can do that, and I would just circle the answers as you do. So again, first I need to make sure it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. If I see this is a right triangle and I see these two sides are congruent, I therefore know these two angles are congruent. And if they're congruent and they add up to 90, then I know they both must be 45. So it's good just to verify that. I can see that if these two sides then would have to be congruent. So if that's 5, that's 5. I don't have to do any work to come up with that. But then, again, I think it's helpful for people to label the sides. I know this is a leg, I know that's a leg, and this is the hypotenuse. Well, if I'm trying to go from the leg to the hypotenuse, I'm trying to get a bigger length. And so I know I need to multiply, and then I have to think, what is that special number I need to multiply by? My choices are 2, square root of 2, and square root of 3. But the only one that gets used for 45, 40 of 90 is square root of 2. So if you just kind of keep that straight, which is which. So I'm going to multiply by square root of 2. So if I know the leg is 5, and I'm going to multiply by square root of 2, I just write 5 square root of 2, and that's it. Okay? If I look at number 2, I can see that if that's 90, these two sides are congruent. Again, I know that these two angles must be 45. And in this case though, then if I go and label, here's a leg, and here's a hypotenuse, because it's across the right angle. So in this case, if I know the hypotenuse and I'm trying to find the leg, I know I need to divide. I'm trying to get a smaller number. I divide by square root of 2. So if I show that right here, if I've got 8 square root of 2, and I divide that by square root of 2, then I can see that those square root of 2's actually cancel each other out, and I'm left with just 8. So I know that these two legs are therefore both 8. So again, these can be very, very quick problems. Okay? Over here, if I see 45 and 45, then I get 90. And again, if I want to go and label my sides, here's a leg, and here's the hypotenuse. And again, I know the hypotenuse. I'm trying to get a leg, so I know I need to divide. What do I divide by? Square root of 2. And so I can show that up here. I've got 10, and then I need to divide by square root of 2. But remember, I'm not allowed to leave that square root in the denominator. So remember from algebra, I can always multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2. That helps me get that square root out of the denominator. And when I do that, then on the numerator I get 10 square root of 2. And on the denominator, remember what we talked about, that square root of 2 times square root of 2 technically gives me square root of 4. But what is the square root of 4? 2. So the shortcut to that is, again, a square root times the same square root gives you that number without the square root. Okay, so in this case, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. And then I can just get that simplified down. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I get 5 square root of 2. Okay, so that works for this side length, and that also works for that side length. Okay, again, I want to make sure I'm labeling both sides. Let me go ahead and clear this and move it up, and we'll go ahead and try numbers 4, 5, and 6 together, and then like I said, you can try the rest of those on your own. Okay. So if we go ahead and look at 4, 5, and 6, then again, same idea. We've got our 90, we've got our two sides congruent, so we know that these two angles are 45 and 45. I know that's a leg, I know that's a leg, I know this is the hypotenuse because it's across the right angle. And again, I know that if these two sides, the two legs, must be congruent. So if that one's 9, that one's 9. And then if I'm trying to get the hypotenuse, I'm trying to get a bigger number, so I'm gonna multiply. And what do I multiply by? My relationship square root of 2. So I just get 9 square root of 2. So some of them have this extra work that you kind of need to think about and do off to the side, and some of them are very straightforward. All right, on this one I've got 45, 45, 90. And again, here is across the right angle is 11 square root of 2, and it is my hypotenuse, and I am trying to find my two legs. And so again, if I take my hypotenuse, 11 square root of 2, and I divide that by square root of 2, because that's the relationship, and I'm trying to get a smaller number, then I can see those square root of 2's cancel out, and I'm left with 11. So I know that length is 11, that length is 11. I can always double check it going back the other direction. I know 11 times square root of 2 should give me the hypotenuse, and it does. Okay? All right, last one we'll go over for now is if this is a 45, this is 45, that must be 90. Again, if these angles are both the same angle and they're congruent to each other, then I know the sides across from those must be congruent because it's an isosceles triangle. So if that's 3, that's 3. So therefore I know my two legs are congruent, and I need to figure out what my hypotenuse is. And again, if my leg is 3 and I'm trying to get the hypotenuse, I'm trying to get a bigger number, so I'm going to multiply, and that gives me 3 square root of 2. Okay, so that's it for the 45, 45, 90. Just that extra practice number 1 worksheet that is in your notes packet.